every male figure I had in my life was either selling dope or they were alcoholics. I looked at every other male figure in my life and I was like, I want to be nothing like them to my family. I've lost a brother to gun violence, lost my other brother to drugs. I lost all that before I was 13 years old. Like, people just don't give a fuck about their people. People always tell me like, you're kind of an asshole, and I'm like, yeah, but you know it's coming from a good heart.
If you don't think that that pain from your past can pay you in your future, that's the thing that they're missing. Angel, you scared your team to 500K in how long?
6 months, man.
6 months?
Yeah.
And how many salespeople do you have on your team?
So when we did the 500K, which was the end of the year, we only had 24 riders. So
24.
Averaging about 20K a rider.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why do you think that most people fail to like scale an agency? What's the biggest challenge that most people face when they're doing that?
Man, honestly, I feel like, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
I feel like people just don't give a fuck about their people. You know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to. Because the biggest things for me is, like I said, people always tell me like, dude, like, you're kind of an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, but you know it's coming from a good heart. You know,
Right.
It's more so like the moment I stop talking to you or like showing you love in a sense of like being critical of you,
Right.
that's when you know you probably lost me as a mentor in that time frame. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So take me back, bro. Take me back to the beginning. You know, how'd you grow up? Like, what was life like in the early days? You know, how did we get to, 24 writing agents, 500K? Like, how did this all begin?
So, man, I mean, if I had to take you back as far as I can remember, I grew up in a small city in West Texas. Life, obviously, like my mom had me at 15, man. So she had me at 15. So I mean, I was obviously like, let me see, like how I explain this. I was the first kid, obviously, right, from my mom. I was the third kid from my dad already, and so you know what I mean. It was just my dad. I think was like 18 at the time. My mom was 15, and long story short, man, like they didn't work out like most teenage love stories go. My mom was a big part in my upbringing. Grew up in struggle, and I'm trying not to get emotional on here, but like literally, man, like I saw my mom, hold down 2 or 3 jobs at a time while trying to go to school to, better herself and to level up. And so I remember there was days where, you know what I mean, I'd get this, like I'd wake up, she's gone for work. I come home, she's still at work, and wake up, and it's a repeating cycle. At the time, as a kid, you don't know, you don't understand what's going on. You just kind of like, it is what it is. But as I grew older, I was like, dang, like she made so many sacrifices.
Right.
To kind of, level up. And eventually she did get there. She did cross that finish line to where, she did start to become a 6-figure earner when I was leaving out of high school.
Okay.
And so those sacrifices definitely paid off, and then just seeing somebody, a single mom, and then, obviously I'm not going to get too deep into it, but growing up in a household that was very, not too great, you know what I mean? A lot of, I don't want to say like, I guess I could just keep it a spade, bro.
Yeah, just keep it a buck.
So I mean, like there's a lot of mental, physical, and emotional abuse. Hold
on.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to say that is because there's other people that have gone through that stuff that they kind of got a little bit ashamed, and maybe they haven't been able to arise past a certain point to get past that. So somebody see that, and they may have been that person too, and they don't think that they could, because when stuff like that happens, right? When you get your ass kicked as a kid, you get abused. That's a lonely moment when you in your room by yourself licking your wounds, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until you become a man where you can do something about it, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to share, like, this is your journey, this is your real life, and I know there's other people that's been through situations like that. And when they see you, I want them to see you as the man who went through all of that and still arise out of the ashes, bro.
Got you. So like, I'll take you back a little further then, like, right? So growing up, every male figure I had in my life was either selling dope, or they were alcoholics, My father and stepfather were, always hard workers, but like I said, I was mostly raised by my mom and my grandparents. And those are the people who, took me under the wing, and just seeing a strong, virtuous woman in my mom and my grandmothers, those are the women that kind of led me to, like, as fucked up as it sounds, like I looked at every other male figure in my life, And I was like, I want to be nothing like them to my family. And so what I meant by that was, you know, I want to make sure I can not only give my kids everything they need, but everything they want.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm present with them, and I want to make sure they know that they're coming from a loving home. And one thing I always tell myself is, you know, is I'll never, if I don't have to, like, especially for my daughters, I'd never raise a hand to them, because I don't ever want them to think like that's normal and that's okay. Because for the longest time, I did think that was normal.
Yeah,
I did think
because
that
it's the way we handle stuff is physical, bro. It's like, oh, we got a problem. Like, okay, everything's good until it isn't. And then it's like, well, what you want to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, let's bump, bro. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, so that's been a big challenge for me too, because like, I didn't grow up with the physical abuse, but I did grow up with my mom being a single parent as a nurse, where she worked 3 to 11, and then when so I'm at home by myself from 12 years old, and then 14 years old, I'm taking care of my little brother too. At the crib all by myself, my mom's working, and then she's working 7 a.m. 7 a.m. to 3. So she's working doubles as an LPN most times. And I know what that's like, you know, just kind of at the crib by yourself. You don't know it at the time. Mom's just going and working, but you're like, man, I'm just here. Thank goodness nothing ever happened, because she worked at the county jail in Chicago. So she couldn't get, if something would have happened, somebody broke in the house, something caught on fire, she can't even leave, because they lock you in for your shift. Yeah. So I do resonate with that. And I think it's interesting that you said something about raising your hand to your daughter, right? Because I got 3 daughters too. And it's a real challenge, because I grew up getting my ass whooped.
The same.
You know what I'm saying? So I know that what I realize as a grown man now is you didn't know how to communicate and regulate yourself as an adult to deal with me being a child, that the rules don't matter to me because I'm just living my life. Yeah. And you can't communicate with me because you're frustrated. So the only thing you could do was to spank me, because that's what happened to you when you was a kid. Yeah. And I'm like literally trying to break that cycle, which is like, that ain't the only way to communicate. Yeah. There is some time for communication that way. Yeah. But you don't want to be, you don't want, when your kids grow up, for them to look at you as a monster. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I tell people all the time, is like, I want, like, there's 2 types of fear. Like, there's a type of fear, like, where, you know, like, I personally, like, I feared like the parental figures in my life, because I was afraid to get my ass beat. Right. But the way I feared, like, for example, my other grandmother, she really didn't lay hands on me, and she was a big part of my upbringing as well. I feared her, but it was more of like a fear of like, I got to do better for her, because I don't want that disappointment, resignation, because I know her expectations of me are up here. Right. Right. And so knowing that, for me, like, you know, knowing that, and I had that same sense with my mom as well, because my mom wasn't too like abusive. Like, it was like, I always tell people, bro, I could literally remember on a handful of times, every time my mom cracked me, because it took like those few times, and I was like, oh shit, like, I knew, like, but that's what you need. That's what you're talking about, right? It was like, oh, I knew I really fucked up in those moments. Exactly. Because my mom never does that shit. Yeah, exactly. And there's supposed to be an emphasis of that. Because anything that you do all the time will get tuned out. You will get immune to. Yeah. And then you're a kid at that time. But there's a point where I can remember the last time my mom whooped me, I was like 12, 13 years old. She's standing there, she's hitting me. And we both come to the realization that we not doing that part anymore. I mean, I wasn't like intimidating my mom, but I just wasn't responding to it at the same time. Just taking an ass whooping. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, this ain't going to work. You know what I mean? So let's talk about that. You get to a certain age where it's like, all right, I'm not taking this anymore, right? And the reason why I'm going through this is because this plays a point into your journey, which most people don't know, is that you do MMA, right? Yeah, I'm a fighter. Right. So we go from this to this, and so you were telling me a story about this last night, which is the last time you stood up for yourself, right? Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, long story short, you know, I vaguely remember a time where, you know, my mom was getting abused, and but long story short, it got physical with me and, you know, her spouse, and that in that moment I realized, well, one, I think he realized he's dealing with a grown ass man now, because even though, like, you know, even though I think I was like a 14, 15-year-old kid, like I grew up in a sense of like, you know, no one was really present. Like I was really the only male figure around. So I was always the male figure role model to my brothers, my little brothers. So I was already in my head, I was already a fucking man. You know what I mean? So you said you were the oldest?
On my mom's side,
okay,
yes.
Got you.
On my pop's side, no.
Okay.
But on my mom's side, yes. So like, you know, when I'm being with my little brothers and stuff, a awakening in a sense of like I went through the same thing as you. I was, making sure my brothers were fed, making sure, they're getting their homework done, doing like, the parental duties. Not because, and that's the one thing is I don't want to take away from my mom, right? It's just 'cause my mom was so busy trying to level up our life so we weren't having to get evicted every 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so,
but you also got to see what hard work would produce even through the struggle, though. That's the thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Like, this has to work or this has to work. And sometimes you just got to grind, bro. And that's what, so I resonate with that, what you said about not taking anything away from my mom. She was the first person I saw that that was like working hard. No excuses, not, all of that. And she made it happen.
Yeah, no victim mentality. And then the biggest thing too is, I might piss a lot of people off here, but like, bro, like, I'm Afro-Latino. You're an African-American man. We can both agree. Most people in our communities come from a victim mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Poor me, I can't catch a break. Most people will look at like the situations of me growing up in the struggle and be like, oh, like poor, like I'm thankful for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because while your starting line may have been 10 steps ahead, you never moved from that motherfucker.
Right.
And for me, it was like I said, I saw like, here's this woman, single mother of, or I won't say single mother, right? But like basically a single mother of 3 kids at the time. And she's still not making excuses. She's still trying to make it happen. So going back into what we were saying, it got physical. In that moment, I realized, that shit would never happen again. Long story short, shortly after that, he gets incarcerated. And, the last few years of my high school year, I would say like, it was good, but it wasn't good at the same time because I was having to be the dominant male figure for my brothers.
Yeah.
And I was just conveying what I knew.
Yes.
And I was like,
learn behavior.
Exactly. So if you act up, I'm gonna get physical. But like I'm not spanking my brothers. I'm whooping their ass with my hands. You know what I mean? I'm having to put hands on them. And I realized, as I was getting older, you don't realize it in the moment. In the moment, you think you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing. But as you get older, and as you start to, men start to develop that frontal lobe in their head around, I'd say my mid-20s, that was when I was like, okay, like that's not the way we should be doing things.
Yeah, there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
So you end up, you said, because I remember you telling me last night you were playing ball in college, right?
Yeah. So I went to UTSA. So I left from high school, went to UTSA, played there for just a short stint, and then I started coaching.
Okay.
Right. So
what sport?
Football.
Football, okay.
Yeah, so like what do you call it? The playing didn't work out. Long story short, nagging injuries. Just like I said, it just wasn't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, though, the beautiful thing about it was I was still powerlifting in college, and I was actually a really competitive powerlifter. I won nationals. I got second at collegiate nationals, like back-to-back years. I went to NAPF Worlds, like I won that, right? So like I competed at the highest level, and I got to see like, I got to be around like the highest level of competitors in that field as well. And then all while coaching football, so I finished my undergrad there, went to grad school, went to A&M for a short stint, and then came back to UTSA.
Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Texas A&M, and then from there I came back to UTSA. I was going to accept a coaching offer. And then long story short, at the time, the head coach, he got fired. So when the head coach gets fired, everybody underneath him has to go. So I had 2 choices. I was like, I could try to follow him and hopefully he offers me an opportunity there, or I could try to stay at UTSA and go with a new head coach. Well, I tried that and he wasn't having it, man. He already had his posse ready to go.
He was bringing his team with him.
Exactly, man. And so in that moment, that was when I decided too, because man, like football, like coaches, unless you're like the top 1%, unless you're the head coach at the university, you're not really getting paid much, And it's not like I was getting offered an OC position. I was getting offered the bottom of the barrel coaching position. So it was like, I'm gonna be working 120 hours a week, probably making 40, 50 grand a year. And so in that moment, I was like, you know what? I want better for my life. And I went back to my second passion, because my first passion's always been like football. My second passion was definitely making money.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to go back to making money. And then that's when I actually got back into, it just correlated at the same time, like the MMA. And then obviously the entrepreneurship journey really took off. So did you start training
to fight to make money, or that was just like a hobby and as a separate part for doing sales?
Yeah. So no, man. So I was like personal training all the way through from like sophomore year of college, like on my own, like, just like more strength and conditioning and sports specific. And so that was just to really pay the bills. Now, when I started to get back into like MMA, really what happened was like, I wanted to compete again in wrestling. And then one of my coaches at the time, shout out to Kano, right? He was a high level MMA fighter. Like, so this guy, like he fought in Bellator. I don't know if you know who Ruthless Robbie Lawler is. He was training partners with Robbie Lawler, Tyrone Woodley. He came from American Top Team out in Florida.
Okay.
Which was like, at the time that was the peak of MMA camps and gyms. And so he just told me, he's like, dude, why don't you just try MMA? I was like, all right. And so I started to get coached by him, started running that up. And I'm an extremist, bro. So anytime I do something, I want to do it at the highest fucking level. You know what I mean? So I started training. He ends up moving, I think, to Vegas. And then I end up finding some other coaches, the Ivy brothers, shout out to them. Super, super fucking high-level talent, like UFC vets. D. Ivy, he's in my weight class, 145. He's a Glory kickboxing vet. And so these guys will compete at the highest level. They've been successful at the highest level. And so I just, like I said, seeing these guys exceed and then just realizing, in a sense of like, these guys like don't gatekeep shit. They give us all the keys to succeed.
Right.
I was like, why not me? You know
Right,
what I mean?
right. So then how does the MMA translate, or what's the transition into, like, how'd you get into sales for the first time? Was insurance the first time you got into sales, or what?
Oh, no. So the first time I got into sales, I had to take you back. When I was in high school, I had a job all the way from like freshman year, all the way up. And then before that, I had like jobs, but like not official jobs, right? In a sense, I was doing like ranch hand, construction worker, like whatever I had to do to like pick up money, I would go take side little quests. But my first actual sales job was, you're going to laugh at this. I was, the guys when you go to the mall and they're like, what type of phone you got? What type of phone you got? In the middle of the kiosk?
Yes.
That was my first sales job.
So you selling phones or
phones?
Oh, okay.
I was selling phones.
Bro, I know a lot of people that is entrepreneurs that started in the mall or kiosk and selling stuff, bro.
Yeah, and you know what's funny though?
That's what the traffic is.
No.
You need traffic for your business.
No, facts. But it's funny because people are like, oh, like you worked at Verizon. I'm like, well, no, because we got paid commission only. So like, I'm damn near harassing you.
Yes,
bro.
you
like,
at the kiosk.
I'm at the
kiosk. I'm from the hood, so like if
So
I go to Rivergate Mall in Nashville or the Plaza in Chicago, like I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Everything. So I get it. But again, you gotta like, that's like a door knocking too, right? It's like, hey, what's going on? You got to start a quick conversation, and a lot of rejection in that too. Yeah. Because people ain't coming in to talk to you.
No, for sure. And see, that's what happened was like in that high school, like during that stint, right? That was, I did that job and I was like, damn, like, I think my first check was, y'all gonna laugh, but in my head, I was like, it was everything. It was like $2,300. And I made that in a week and some days. So probably like 8 or 9 days I made that. And I was like, damn, like this is for real.
Yeah.
Well, then, long story short, that was a short stint. I had to go out to, to San Antonio, obviously. And then from that point there, that was when I realized, I was like, damn, okay, like I always kept that in the back of my head. I was like, that was a good job to have, in a sense of like, because it was based off my activity. No one could like put a foot in the door of how much I could make, in a sense. And from there, then I'd say like my next sales job was when I was getting ready to go to grad school. I had taken on a side job of I was door knocking for roofing sales. And,
door knocking for roofing sales.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a storm chaser. I come in your neighborhood, basically. I wouldn't even ask you, bro. Like let's say if you open the door, you're fucked with me. So like I'd be like, yeah, man. I go, so I'm just working out here. I'd lie like a mother. I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm just working for the state. So my job is just to go up here, take a few pictures, show you the damage, and then you can send it to your insurance claim if you want. But it's just for your knowledge because we had that real bad storm. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right, Arturo?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Miss Betty down the street. She's actually told me to come down here. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be a second though, and I wouldn't even ask him, bro.
And you just going up there to get the photos, like, hey, so you got this damage, you got this damage.
Yeah.
This typically what this can do. Don't worry about it. You don't even have to do anything. This will put some money in your pocket, and we'll do the rest.
Exactly. And then if they were like kind of nagging me and stuff, I'd be like, you know what? I go, let me talk to my manager, and I'd be like, hey, what do you think we're gonna get for this job? And he'd be like, well, if we get this, he's like, we'll offer them and we'll fix their whole fence. So that's how I used to stand out. Was like I was the guy. Like not only was I fixing your roof, bro, we were repainting your fence. Whatever we had to do to secure the job.
Offer, baby. It's all about the offer.
Yeah. And it was like too good to be true. And so at the time, I think it's illegal now, but. And I can say this because at the time I don't think it was illegal. We would actually help them cover their, $1,000, what do you call it? Like the coverage fee. They have to pay the insurance. So we would
because then if you close the deal, you get this and they get that, and it's like, all right,
exactly.
It's work.
Yeah. So they would pay it up front and we would just reimburse them. You know what I mean? And so like it was an easy. I don't say easy, but like it was easier of the door knocking compared to like solar and pest control, I think, because it was like I'm dealing with people's insurances all day. Like it's not really them. You know, as long as their insurance approved the claim, like we're good to go.
Yeah, and it's high ticket. That's super high ticket too.
Yeah.
In regards to that.
Yeah.
A lot of the people. So I have a second business as an acquisition and merger business, and a lot of roofers, contractors, and stuff like that, like very high ticket, because sometimes they don't want to pay the $2,500 a month for the management fee. Well, we can do a rev share partner for all the deals that I bring them. And so now it's on performance. You know what I mean? They got to flip the ad spend, but anything that I generate that they wouldn't have normally got, they can pay me. And now I'm, part equity in the business, which is super cool.
That's awesome.
So when did you get into insurance? How did that come into play in this story?
Yeah. So, okay. So we're kind of like catching up now, right? So that was, like I said, right before grad school, I was doing that job and coaching at the same time. And then from that point, I'm in grad school. I started my own personal training company. A very small scale. I partnered up with this other guy, and we started to take off. Well, then I partnered with my brother on a diesel mechanic company. And so I was doing, at the same time, while I'm finishing up grad school, it's my last year of grad school, like probably the last 6 months, we start a diesel mechanic company. It starts to take off. We start I don't start, but I expand on my personal training online business, and it starts to take off.
So you got personal training and a diesel
mechanic company. And we're based out of West Texas, so it was super easy to get contracts because both of us had experience. I used to work in the oil field as well. I left that out, right? But I used to work on a drilling rig and a pulling unit. So like I said, it was easy because we're talking to people that like even though these are like the rich white folk of West Texas, they know, like we know what we're talking about in the sense of like working in these workovers and stuff. So it was easy to get these contracts. So my point. Now everything's going good, bro. Like, and I'm thinking like this is it. Like I'm thinking like this is the way, because my brother's just like a workhorse. He couldn't really see the bigger picture. And in my head, I'm like, once we take over West Texas, we're gonna take over another metro. In my head, I'm like, we're moving to San Antonio Metro, Austin Metro.
Yeah, you thinking of launching in other markets, right?
Exactly. And so I'm thinking like, that's why I told my brother, I was like, I know you don't see it now. I was like, but in 5 years, like, well, you'll never have to do this shit again, because he was the one out there, training guys and working with them. I was like, we're gonna have the system so intact. You're just gonna be in here like signing deals with me. That's it. And so, long story short, bro, COVID happens, and my businesses, like both of them, bro. Like my personal training business went from making, I'd say 20, 30K a month to like owing 5K, 10K a month. And man, it was tough. Like I told you yesterday, I don't really believe in like depression, but I believe that people go through like depressive states.
Yeah.
And it's their choice if they stay there or not,
So let's talk about that though, because this is important, because when something's working for you and you like, all right, it's it, and I'm about to scale this to the moon as an entrepreneur, you like, all right, let's all gas, no brakes. I'm willing to invest whatever it is. Let's take this to the moon. But then something happened. You're like, something ain't right. This is not working. And for me as an entrepreneur, my identity is really tied to my business way too much, which I was telling you about yesterday. And it wasn't until my business dipped that I realized what happened. And I heard Derrick Rose say this one time too, which I thought was crazy because he's from Chicago. He was like, the best thing that ever happened to me was when I tore my knee, because I didn't know who I was outside of basketball. Everything, all the praise, all the accolades, all the success that I had was all predicated around the basketball and it's something on paper, but not who I was as a person. And he's like, you can look at me and feel sorry for me, but I came from the bottom and I made it to the top. MVP, the youngest MVP, coming from Chicago, homemade, getting drafted by my team. Like, you couldn't even write that if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only person that ever do that was LeBron James, right? There's only two people that's done it. Even Mike came from North Carolina to do Chicago, but he is homegrown to get picked number 1, 2, to be good enough to make it number 1. And he still said that moment is what really defined him how to spend the rest of his life, because he wouldn't have known how to do it if he had a great career and then he just stopped playing ball because he had to retire. The reason why I say that is because I'm curious on how you navigated the transition from personal training to whatever it was you did next, because that's usually like the dark time.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It was tough. I was trying to, like you said, I was trying to figure out who I was, because like in that moment, and like coming from from nothing, pretty much as far as like money wise, and then like showing Cause you know everybody is, it's so funny to me. People are always like money doesn't bring you happiness, and I'm like, bro, but it does help a lot. Like
It's a tool that helps you.
It definitely is a tool, and like and it's funny because like I said, I always when I see people say that, I'm like, okay, what's your background though? Because if you've never come from real struggle, if
No.
you've never seen like real things, like I don't give a shit what you
Yeah,
say.
sleeping on the floor, you're like
Exactly.
you never come from
Exactly.
any of that. And then the thing about the money too is like the number one killer for most people is stress, and the number one stress for most people is financial.
Yep.
So, you living in this, what Tupac say, mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. My mother was making miracles every day, trying to figure out how we was gonna live. Bro, that takes a toll on you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's crazy you say that, bro, because that's exactly how I felt, in those moments. So it's like when I was going through those growing pains and stuff like that, and those businesses failed, trying to find myself. So, bro, I was trying to get like a tech sales job. I was trying to get a sales engineering job, but I knew in that moment I was like, I want to get something where I can be in control of the income. And so I talked to my mom. So my mom's a very successful realtor back in West Texas.
Okay.
And I told her, I was like, well, I think I'm getting into wholesaling. Right. And she's like, well, she's like, they may make a law where you have to be a licensed realtor to get your wholesaling or to wholesale. She's like, you might as well just get your license. And so then I end up getting my license, and I end up getting like some like tech certifications and sales
Right.
techs. And in those moments, I started to do real estate. And it was because of her, because she was just like, she instilled like she always does, bro. Like my mom was always really good at instilling belief into me. She's like, you'd be the best. She's like, you'd be better than me. Like your communication skills are just so superior. And I was just like, damn, like my mom's good as fuck. And she's saying that about me. Like, I'm like, okay, she's right then. Like, let's give it a go. So year one, rookie year, blowed out the water. We do amazing. And I shout out to my guy, Nick, the realtor. So me and him, like basically we met in that class. It was funny. He was like 2 hours late. And in my head, I was like, oh, this is going to be my dude. I could already tell, So we end up, it's funny. It was like 50 of us in that class, bro. Out of 50 of us, there's probably 3 or 4 of us that actually still do real estate.
Right.
That's how it goes, right? And so year 2 comes around, I kill it. Well, year 2, what happens is, bro, like so it's the end of 2024, right? It's quarter 4 of 2024. My buddy On Win hit me up in the summer of 2024 about insurance. And when he first hit me up, bro, like I'm being a little arrogant. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm making 30, 40K a month for most months when the real estate market's good.
Yeah, so you don't need no new opportunities, right?
Yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm about to gross $500,000. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, nah, bro, like I'm good on that. And long story short, so real estate, it's boom, boom. And the deal is never closed in real estate until what? Until we're at the closing table and you've signed the documents, and it's closed and funded by the lender most of the time, right? So it has to go through so many steps, and you're just the middleman. So you're not really in control of anything. And what happened was I was supposed to have, I think, 4 deals before I was leaving out of town. And I was leaving out of the country. I was going to be gone for like a month, right? So I'm thinking I'm about to get deposited like 70 racks, bro. I get deposited $0.
$0
freaking dollars, bro.
Damn.
So what happened was Monday, the dude, like, he just ghosted me on the deal. Tuesday, the second guy, something happens with the title company, and he gets pissed off, at the seller. I don't know what happened, man. Like, I wasn't there. But he don't want the deal no more. The other 2, it was just one of them, some bullshit came back where the appraisal wasn't met at value or something. And then the last one, the guy just, he had to delay, and both of them wanted to wait until I got back to close. Mind you, bro, I'm not coming back for a month. So I went from thinking I'm about to get paid $70-something thousand, and I got paid $0, and I'm leaving the country for damn near a month. You know what I mean? So it was just
so when you come back, there ain't even no money coming back, and it's like, bro, I was gonna use some of this on my trip.
Exactly, bro. And it was supposed to fund the whole trip pretty much. And so what I had to do, pull it out of my savings, pull some shit out my ass, and then I was like, all right. I hit up On, and I was like, look, bro, I don't know what you're trying to want me to do for you. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck you sell, because I really didn't. I was like, but I go, when I get back, I go, let's lock in.
Right.
And as most people, you probably thought like, oh, he's just bullshitting. Yeah. Because most people do that, right? Well, literally, I'm on the plane on the way back, and I'm like, hey, what do I need to do? He's like, all right, so all you have to do, he's like, you have to, sign up for your test. It's $40 in the state of Texas. He's like, it's $40. He's like, pay for that. Once you pay for that, I'll send you the course. Use that course to study and pass your test. He's like, after that, you'll apply for your license. He's like, that's another like $30. He's like, then pass your fingerprint test. He's like, so all in all, you're going to come out of pocket, like paying everything to the state, about $150. I was like, okay, like that ain't shit. It cost me like $3 or $4 to get my license in real estate. So like you could imagine, I'm like, oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Like that's the buy-in?
Yes.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, no. I was like, well, you know, in real estate, we have like desk fees and broker fees. I was like, what's the broker fees? He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't have to like pay you like any recruiting or broker. He's like, no, bro, this ain't no pyramid scheme shit. He's like, no. He's like, you get paid on performance, bro.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's like, everything's just to the state. I was like, all right. So I was already thinking, I was like, okay, cool. This ain't no pyramid scheme. Like this seems like legit sales. And then, so what ends up happening is on that Wednesday, I signed up for my test on Friday. On Wednesday, I'm on a flight back home, right? I'm studying. I passed the course.
Wednesday, you're on a flight back home.
Yeah.
Your test is on Friday.
Yeah, because I'm not playing that shit. I'm like I told you, I'm extreme, bro.
Yes.
So Wednesday, I'm over here. I'm just going crazy on this course. Then Thursday, I use that day to study. I'm just doing all the practice exams and shit. Mm-hmm. Friday, I go and I pass the exam. I get my fingerprint done. It's all about lunchtime. And then I apply for my license and I call on. I was like, hey, bro, like, I'm done. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you're back home? I was like, no, like, I passed the test, got my fingerprint. I applied for my license, like you said. I go, can I come to the office? And he's like, whoa, like, he's like, you just got back, bro. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I told you, I'm not wasting fucking time here.
Right.
And he's like, well, just chill. Come in on Monday. So it's freaking funny, bro. So on Monday, I'm supposed to come in. Long story short, my nanny is sick. So she's supposed to watch my daughter. She can't watch my daughter. So I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, bro, actually, I'm not going to be able to come in today. So in my head, he's probably...
he's like, oh, man.
He's like, I knew it. I knew it. He bullshitting.
Yeah.
So then Tuesday, I come in, and the first thing I told him, bro, and it's so good that me and Honor are like complete opposites because he don't have an ego about him. You met me, bro. Like, well, I got an ego, you know? Like, and so I told him straight up, I was like, hey, bro, I got so many deals in my back pocket for real estate, so I'm only going to do this shit part-time. I'm going to just do this on my downtime. I'll come in on the days I can. And he was like, yeah, bro, that's fine. He's like, let's just make you a schedule. Like, it's cool. I was like, all right, bro, I'll be here from 10 to 4 every day. I go, outside of that, I'm doing my real estate in the morning and after, and I have training. And I told him, I was like, I don't miss training, bro. I train every freaking day. He's like, all right, my first day, bro, I do 8K in sales. And so I'll never forget, at the end of the day, I went up to him and I was like, hey, I don't know what this is. I still don't know what the fuck I'm selling. I'm just reading the script and calling the leads that you gave me. I was like, but I'm all in. He's like, you're all in? And I'm like, I'm all in, bro. I was like, fuck real estate.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't fuck real estate, but it was like in that moment.
Like, this is a new opportunity, so let's get it.
It's a huge opportunity. And so in that moment, he literally sat down with me and he explained the business. And he broke it down in a sense. So in real estate, like you can make a team, right? You can build a team. But bro, it's so hard to find like people who actually are worth the fuck. And it's a much harder pitch to sell. So it's like if I told you, hey, Arturo, I'm going to hire you, okay? You're going to come work on my real estate team. Most people don't get a deal within their first 6 months to a year. You're comfortable with not making $0, right? Still showing up every day and not getting paid for it for the next 6 to 12 months.
And acting like you're making money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you cool with that?
No.
Most people are like, fuck no, because they got bills to pay.
Yes.
Right? But in insurance, I'm like, hey, it's going to cost you up front like $200 something bucks. You're going to pay everything to the state, not to me. There's no recruiting fees, no broker fees, no nothing like that. I'm going to provide you leads for your first 8 weeks in the business. And then most people, they get paid within 1 to 2 weeks like a normal job. Okay. Now, if you want to scale to making 30, 40K, you're going to have to eventually invest in yourself and invest in better lead quality.
Right.
You know, it's not like an opportunity you want to do. Most people are like, oh, hell yeah, like $200, like, and I'm a licensed financial service agent. Cool. Let's do it. You know, so I realized in that moment, I was like, how many people can I give this opportunity to, especially where I'm from? Right. And that started becoming my vision, was because I wanted that vision already in real estate, but I realized how hard it is, because if you're not coming in with a lot of capital in real estate, like it's going to be really hard for you to level up at the level or the time frame that you need, especially with people, if they're like, you know, they have a lot of bills, like people already struggling. It's not going to be an easy journey by any means, you know? And so in that moment, like I said, when I started doing the insurance, that was the end of 2024.
Right.
My first month I did 100K in submit. And
What'd
then
you just say?
100K in submit business.
And when?
that was my first 6 weeks in the business.
First 6 weeks,
Yeah.
100K submitted. Bro, there's some people that don't do 100K submitted in their first 12 months. So
yeah.
what I have noticed is that people who have been athletes before are high performers, and it doesn't matter what you put in front of them. Hockey puck, golf ball, basketball, whatever it is, the intensity that comes with the work, the competitive nature of it is like, if this person can do it, I'm going to try to kick their ass at it. I'm going to try to come in here and be the best. They got a high motor, and they're not afraid to fail, and they kind of learn as they're going.
Yeah.
So why do you think that you had that early on success? Because most people don't. Why do you think that's the case?
I think it goes back to being extreme and like you said, being like, if I'm gonna do something, I always tell my daughters this, I'm like, if you're gonna do something, why not be the fucking best?
Yes.
Why go out there just to be mediocre? Like who laces up basketball shoes and says, I'm just gonna be mediocre?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be I today. I'm a kind of go 50 today.
Yeah, and I said and I just told myself from a young age, I was always overlooked because I'm not a big dude by any means, bro. Like I was when I was little, like I was in sixth, seventh grade, I was 5'6", 160 pounds, bro. Soaking wet. So it's like I was a little guy, and so playing sports, I was always overlooked. And it wasn't until we put the pads on or until we got out there and like, oh, this guy's a dude.
Yeah.
And then so I always had that little chip on my shoulder, and always took it personal, and a personal in the sense of like I gotta show you how great I am. Like Muhammad Ali used to say, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Yes.
And so in those moments, I think what really equated to success was my competitive nature, and then wanting to be the best. And then the last thing, bro, is like just being super, super coachable and like willing to go above and beyond and ask questions. And that's where most people fail, because it's like think about it like this: how many people are running businesses out there and they have no mentors to turn to? Most of them. And that's why they stay working in their business, never on their business.
Yeah.
What I realized in that moment, I was like, okay, this business requires three things: being a high-level producer, being a high-level recruiter, being a high-level mentor. And I realized I want to get to phase 2 and 3, but I'm still at phase 1. I need to be the best producer I can be so I can have guys to actually replicate, like they can replicate what I do.
Right.
And so in that moment, I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to produce at the high level. I'm going to hit Hall of Fame my rookie year, which I did, right? And I think the biggest thing is...
What's Hall of Fame for the people who don't know?
So Hall of Fame is 1% in the insurance industry is anybody who sold $400,000 for the year or more.
And insurance. In 1 year?
Yeah. So I did about just under $500,000.
And you did that in your first year?
Yeah, $500,000.
That's crazy, bro. So you told me a little bit of the story, so I want you to kind of retell the story of the John Wetmore story, because that was a really good one about you when you first met him in the business.
Oh, man. So when I met John Wetmore, I was just starting out, and we were at this event.
What was it?
Cody Askin's event.
Oh, it's the reason why this is relevant is because I was supposed to be, this is the one in San Antonio. I was telling you, I was supposed to be at that one, and for some reason I couldn't make it. Yeah. And so, I would have met you then. Yeah.
No, we probably would have collabed right there, because it's just like, when, like you said it best, when certain people walk into the room, you get the aura like, this is a real ass motherfucker.
Yes.
And that's
and
the first
John,
thing
shout out to John Wetmore. He's a real one.
No, he's a fucking real one, bro. So like, he knows my upline on, like, has a relationship with him. And then, so at the time, like, I'm brand new to the industry, but I know who John Wetmore is because literally, like I told you, I was asking questions. I was going on YouTube doing my own training. So if you ever look up life insurance training on YouTube, the only two people that really pop up is Cody Askins and John Wetmore.
Yeah.
Right. And so, not to be like that, but when I looked up like Cody Askins, I was like, well, what are his numbers? I couldn't really find anything. So I was like, okay, like, cool. He seems educated. But when I looked up John Wetmore, they literally, like, when you chat GPT him, it literally put John Wetmore, Zach Trudowski, Sean Mike, and who else? Andrew Taylor on the Mount Rushmore of insurance.
Yes.
Mind you, like, I'm not biased at this time because I don't know shit about like IMOs or anything. I just said, who's on the Mount Rushmore of insurance? And this guy popped up. So then obviously I took an interest and I started watching all his videos and like just really taking notes. So fast forward, like, first month in the business, first 6 weeks in the business, I get to meet this guy, and get to have a connection with him, and we just start chopping it up like we've known each other forever, bro. And man, he was just giving like just some sauce, like no gatekeeping sauce, and that is one thing about the financial service industry that I will say. going back a little bit, right, is in real estate, everybody gatekeeps because you're competing in the same market for the same clients. Whereas like what we do here, financial services, bro, like yes, you're competing, but there's so much for everybody to eat. Like
Right.
you never have to I never have to look at your plate and try to eat off you. You know what I mean? And so when I realized that in financial services, I really took advantage. And then meeting John Wetmore, it just solidified that because like here's this guy who's, on the Mount Rushmore of insurance.
$200 million man for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He don't got to be there with us.
No.
And he's out here giving us free game, telling us just the cold, hard truth. And it was in that moment, like, I'm not going to throw people under the bus, but it was in that moment I realized how low the competition was because people's goals and aspirations didn't meet the work ethic requirement to get there.
Yes, and he gives that every presentation. He said he walks into Mark Mead's office and he's like, man, you crushing it. And he goes, how can you expect my results with your work ethic? And everybody in the room goes,
Yeah.
Because you need to see 30 people a week. And it's like, how many leads do you have? How many appointments do you have on the books? And he goes, no script is going to make you good enough if you only got 10 appointments a week. It's just not going to happen. So what can you do? You can go out and try to book 30 appointments, book 60.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct of that, you'll get good because you're doing the reps.
Yep.
Yes.
The volume will negate the luck.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes volume is the cheat code to getting lucky is that you just talk to so many people.
Yeah.
So, okay. So first 30 days, you submit 100K. First calendar year, you hit Hall of Fame and do over 400. And then in the first year, you run it up to, no, you said first 6 months. Sorry. First 6 months with 24 people, you run it up to 500K. Dude, those are some incredible stats.
Yeah.
So if you are kind of summing that up, and I guess this is generalizing it in regards to what are some of the 3 to 4 things that you got to make sure you do to even come close to doing something like that. What did you need to do in order to stack some wins together to have that much success?
So the biggest thing for me is I just looked at in a sense of who was you got to look at who's succeeding in what you're doing, who you want to be like. And the biggest thing I told myself is like, if I'm not remotely envious of the life or the business that they have, then why do I care about what they're doing?
Yes.
You know
if
what I mean?
wouldn't trade lives with you, then
Exactly.
it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. So what I did was I just started production-wise. I started getting around. You got to get around the guys who are producing at the highest level. And then my team building-wise, shout out to Zach Tradowski, Ronnie Salem. Those two guys, I started to see how they mentor and how they're bringing their guys up and how fast they've scaled. And I was like, okay, I want to replicate everything they do. So what do? Anytime I'm with them, I ask them so many questions. They have to tell me, stop asking me fucking questions.
Yes.
Right? Because it's like, bro, they're giving you the free game.
Yes.
Like, take it. And that's what I tell people all the time is like, dude, I'm not telling you to go in here and you meet Arturo. Remember everything he told you. But take 1 to 2 main points and run with it.
Yeah, and don't just ask questions to be asking questions.
Yes.
Ask questions that can get you to the next step and then go and apply it and take action.
Exactly. Because, knowledge is power, but application is key.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I definitely agree there. Now, that would be number one, right? It's like get around the fire, get around people who are producing at the highest level, building the team at the highest level, and you replicate exactly what they do. No need to reinvent the wheel. Number 2 is, bro, like you have to freaking invest in your business. So many people are so scared. They're scared to hire admins. They're scared to delegate work. They're scared to buy. Number one thing you need in your business is lead flow. And so many people are scared to buy leads. And I'm like, bro, if I literally told you, take this $10,000 and put it into the ATM at the end of the month is going to spit you back 50 to 60 grand. How many times would you do? And they're like, every month. So what are we talking about?
Right.
Like, do you not believe? You don't, and I tell people all the time, it's like, you don't even believe in you. Why the fuck should I?
Right, because the thing isn't about the 2,500. It's about the belief behind the 2,500 that you don't believe in yourself enough that you're worth investing $2,500 to give you an opportunity to multiply it in 7 days.
Yes.
Because we've been trained to be employees that they give us everything. They give us time off. They give us this pension. They give us this retirement. They give us this time off. You work these 5 days so you can have these 2 off. And it's like, dude, if you can invest $2,500 into yourself and in 7 days it spits this out, or 10K and in 30 days it spits this out. One, to 5 ratio. How many times do you do it? Do you have a budget? How many times should you do it?
Yes.
Over and over and over again. So then the only thing standing in your way is you don't believe either that it'll work for you, or you don't believe that you can do it.
Yes. And so it goes back to that, right? It's like, that's why I tell guys, like, if you don't believe in yourself, I'm not going to believe in you. Like, right? I can try to instill belief, but if you can't do it yourself, like, bro, it don't matter what I say. It don't matter who you talk to. You have to believe in yourself more than anybody else. Your dreams have to be delusions to everybody else, you know? And it's like, to you, it's not a dream, it's a goal, you know? And so that's why I tell people all the time, they're like, you don't really speak about your dreams out loud. I'm like, bro, because it'd be delusional to you and it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
like, I know what I got to do.
Right.
Like, I write my shit down. I have goal setting, right? So those two things. Now, number 3, man, and this is going to kind of like correlate like multiple words, but all into one. If you don't have you know, a standard for what you're doing, if you're not process driven into what you're doing, and you don't have the necessary vision, those 3 things need to align, you know? And so if the biggest things, everybody has dreams, everybody has goals, everybody has aspirations, but they don't even have a standard for the time they wake up, for how many leads they're going to buy, things like that. So it's like, if you want to make sure you're succeeding at the highest level, you need to make sure you have a standard, then a process to get there, and that'll lead to the vision being successful. And so, and then number 4, right, and this is, I'd say this is like the most important out of number 4, out of all of them, is you have to be super, super coachable, right? You got to have the mentality in the sense of like, I come into the room, I as if I know nothing, so I can learn everything. My grandfather used to tell me that all the time. He's like, don't be ignorant, don't be an asshole. He's like, I don't care if you're the smartest guy in the room, you act like you're not. If he's like, you're the smartest, good, be observant. Because just because somebody hasn't been doing something as long as you, doesn't mean they don't have knowledge they can apply to you.
Right.
You know, and that really sunk in with me when I was coaching in college, because we had this when I was a GA, we had this new kid come in. He's an undergrad, didn't even play like college ball, right? He just played high school, and he broke down a whole formation in a different way I never would have like broken it down myself. And it was in that moment I was like, okay, so those 4 things, man. I think like if you can have those 4, you can be very hyper successful in this business, right? And then just, you know, a little subcontext, obviously understand like you're running a business here, man. Like, this is not, if you want to be a glorified salesman, cool, work your 50, 60 hours a week, because that's what normal salesmen work, right? You work in a car dealership, you work at 12-hour days, Monday through Saturday. So work your normal 10, 12-hour shift, Monday through Saturday, and go home. But it's like, understand, you're going to have to, when you're just building out, don't feel entitled that you deserve it just because you're showing up. That don't mean shit, right? Understand that you're going to have to put in more effort. You're going to have to put more effort into recruiting. You're going to have to put more effort into coaching and actually caring about guys. And so when you asked me earlier, like, what's your goal, X, Y, and Z? It's like, well, my goal is simple, right? It used to be about money, but as time goes along and as I make money, I realize money comes and goes.
Right.
Like, I can always find something to make me a lot of money.
Right.
But it's like, how many lives can I change? How many people, especially from communities like me, right? Like, you know, minority communities or people who just grow up in the struggle and poverty, and all they're looking for is an opportunity for someone to mentor them and get them to the next level.
You just want to be seen. Like, all right, bro, I can see you referencing, but that's not what I see, bro. I see past that.
Yes.
That, like, all the stuff you've been through, if you harness it, focus, you can apply that, and you can be unstoppable because you already been through the worst of it. So somebody telling you no, somebody cussing on the phone, somebody closing the door, that means nothing to you because of the stuff that you've been through, bro.
Exactly.
And you can get paid a king's ransom. But if you don't think that pain from your past can pay you in your future, that's the thing that they're missing.
Exactly. And so for me, like, short and simple, the goal was at the end of the convention, I had about 40, 50 guys. By the end of this year, I want to 10x that. I want a team of 500 people, and I want all of them minimum making 6 figures a year.
Yeah, man.
So I want to change their life from a financial standpoint. You know, and all I can do is give them the opportunity.
Yeah, and the way that you give them the best way to give them the opportunity is for them to see you doing the thing and going to the same level, which is like, bro, I used to be you. I went through the struggles that you did, but that doesn't defeat you or define you. What you do determines the success that you have. And if you get the right mentorship, if you learn some discipline, right, and you have some dedication, bro, you can do anything. Yes. And the only thing you need is the right vehicle. And this vehicle seems to be producing because it's made the most millionaires in any industry. So you put all that together with the right mentorship, like, let's get it, right? So perfect. So as we kind of wrap this up, obviously this is going on YouTube and we emailing this out to our list. And for this is your camera right here. It's, you know, who you're looking for and where they can reach out to you on IG if they want to reach out to you directly.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of wrap this one up.
Okay. So who am I looking for really? So who I'm looking for really is just anybody out there who ever felt like in life they were overlooked and they just really never had the opportunity they felt like to succeed. So anytime they've ever joined in an industry, you know, anytime they've ever done anything, they just kind of felt like no one even gave them an opportunity, gave them a shot. So anybody who's really come from struggle, and it don't have to be my sense of my poverty struggle, but just struggle in life. You know, that's what I'm really looking for. Young entrepreneur-driven, you know, men and women who are trying to succeed and understand that it takes investment within a business to succeed at the highest level. And so if you're asking me in a sense of, you know, that would be who I'm looking for.
Okay.
Now, if you could reach me on Instagram at AC the Realtor 1, you know, should I drop my email or anything like that? Okay. My email is oakman@newerafinancial.co. So oakman@newerafinancial.co. And my phone number, area code 210-724-1914.
Yeah, for sure. Well, bro, this has been incredible. I know we kind of went down some rabbit holes of the journey, but the reason why I wanted to do this is because if somebody watches this, I want them to hear that you have gone through some similar things that they have, and that if you can make it, if you can do it, they can too.
Yeah.
It's just that you gotta stop focusing on this and start focusing on this. And the moment that you get those 4 things that you talked about, your life will change forever.
No, for sure, man. And like you said, like it's crazy because I don't talk about this often, right? But like I think I've told you this. I've lost a brother to gun violence, lost my other brother to drugs. He's done for, right? Like so my oldest brother's passed away. My second oldest is in and out of jail. He's, like I said, done for. I lost a sister, you know, and so I've lost people close to me. And I lost all that before I was, I think, 13 years old, you know? And so going through those struggles, those trials and tribulations, like speaking to those people out there, bro, it don't matter what you go through. Like it matters how you come out of the other side of it. Like we all go through stuff. We all have stories, but like, if you want people to actually give a fuck about your story, you have to win, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause everybody got a story.
And ladies and gentlemen, Angel Moreno, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Let's go.